Nobody deserves to work forever. Come on, that would mean working right until your 80s or 90s. But have you ever considered the possibility that some of your current habits might be pushing you toward working forever? Yeah, that's right. There are tons of habits that could affect your current and future finances in negative ways. And what are these habits to avoid? Well, let's find out together, shall we? Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Number 1. Not saving. It can be quite easy to dismiss the need for saving if you're earning quite a lot of money each month. You'll probably think to yourself, this job pays me a whole lot, I really shouldn't bother with saving right now, I can do it later. Well, to a certain extent you'd be right, but have you ever considered the chances of you losing that job? Or do you expect to work at this job forever? Of course not. Saving, whether a retirement savings plan or an emergency fund account, is to prepare us for the rainy days ahead, so that when things do go sideways, you're not left with nothing. Let's imagine for a moment you failed to save while you earned thousands of dollars each month. Then you suddenly lose this job and you have to borrow from friends and family just to survive. And then right after getting a new job, you'd have to pay back everyone what you owe, which means you have to work even longer at this job before you can have enough for yourself. And if you fail to save again, well, the cycle will go on and on. Number 2. Poor money habits. If you spend without a budget, or you constantly find yourself overspending, you just might be putting your future self at financial risk. Knowing the value of money and the importance of frugality remains one of the key ways to develop positive money habits. And having good money habits will in turn help you save more, make better financial decisions, and save you from the trap of lifestyle inflation. And speaking of, number 3, lifestyle inflation. Would your lifestyle get way more expensive if you found a job that pays higher than your current job? If your answer to this question is yes, you're only a few steps closer to falling into the trap of lifestyle inflation. Now, lifestyle inflation forces you to increase your cost of living, usually due to the fact that you now earn more. But while this might seem like a harmless habit, it's one that is bound to cause financial harm in the long run. When you start to earn more, don't make the mistake of thinking that certain luxuries are now necessities, as this will only create a large hole in your finances. Number 4. Impulse buying. Do you find yourself constantly buying items you didn't previously plan for? Well, you're a victim of the impulse buying virus. Impulse buying is another habit that might seem quite harmless at first, as long as you can comfortably afford it, right? Well, while you might be able to afford this, it's only a matter of time before the chunk of your income is spent toward other impulse items. Eventually, this makes it impossible to save, and you'll soon find it difficult to afford your basic necessities. And if this goes on for a longer period, you'll have no option other than to work for several more years as you make up for all the money you lost on impulse purchases. Number 5. Obsessed with the present. What's your default response to a problem you don't have an immediate solution to? Do you keep working on a solution until you find one, or do you simply choose to ignore it? A number of people choose to ignore problems they can't tackle, especially when it comes to their future needs. However, no matter how much you ignore your future problems, they will one day be right before you. So even if you decide to get lost in the present, believing that the future will somehow save itself, you might have just landed yourself a recipe for disaster. If you don't want to work for every year of your life, now is the time to start making plans for your future. Factor it into everything that you do: your budget, spending, lifestyle, even what you eat. You should be gearing up for retirement way before official retirement age. Number 6. Poor debt management. Let's face it, okay? It's practically impossible to totally avoid debt in today's world, but you definitely can decide how much these debts will affect your finances. If you constantly find yourself missing your repayment, this might reflect the fact you don't make adequate plans to repay these loans. And missing your payment could result in higher interest, which would then bite into the money meant for other things. As improbable as it might sound, refusing to pay your loans at the right time can cause you to work well into your old age. Number 7, waiting for a miracle. When you constantly find yourself in difficult financial situations, it becomes natural to hope that a higher power will get involved and a miracle will happen. But we all know this never happens. You aren't just going to suddenly win the lottery exactly when you need it, or discover your grandparents left you a hefty amount of money. The reality is, if you fail to take charge of your financial situation, it will inevitably lead to ruin. And waiting for a miracle? Here's why that'll very likely have you working forever. When you're expecting a miracle, you're ridding yourself of control. You start to believe your finances are totally out of your hands and only a miracle can save you. And unfortunately, losing control of your finances is perhaps the quickest way to financial ruin. Number 8, staying at a job that pays peanuts. Do you believe you've got the potential to make much more money? Of course you do. Then why are you slaving away at a job that pays you less than you deserve? Rather than staying at the job that pays peanuts, equip yourself with better paying skills and keep your eyes open for more opportunities. In fact, you can renegotiate a higher pay with your employer when you have new and better qualifications. And most importantly, we understand that the concept of resigning and finding a new job is a pretty scary process. What if you don't find a job that meets your financial expectations? But have you considered the possibility on the other side of the coin? What if you find a better paying job, a way better paying job? Now that would be something to look forward to, right? Number 9, gambling. There's no other way to say this, but gambling will ruin your finances to a point where it cannot be saved. Not convinced? Let's look at some interesting facts you might have missed. For starters, you have a 1 in 292 million chance of winning the jackpot in a Powerball drawing, and your chances are also quite slim in the world of sports betting, blackjack, or poker. If gambling is a consistent part of your daily life, so much so it eats into your work and personal hours, you are very likely setting yourself up for a life of total servitude. However, if you make a decision to quit today, your future self will give you a pat on the back for this decision. Gambling can absolutely escalate to addiction status, and to quit, professional help might be needed. But what will it be? Your answer determines the sort of life you will live in the future. Number 10, short-term mindset. As you probably already guessed, your mindset has a direct influence on your present and future. If your mindset is fixed on the present, then everything you do will reflect this sentiment. However, if you make the decision to set long-term goals, plan for your future and retirement, then you stand a higher chance of not working forever. What do early retirees all have in common? A long-term mindset. A long-term mindset not only teaches you to plan for the future, it also encourages you to make the most of the present, because you know that its outcome will determine what the future looks like. Number 11, procrastination. What's the world's most valuable currency? The Kuwaiti dinar, dollar, euro? Well, in the world of foreign exchange, you might be right. But in real life, we all know that time is our most prized currency. And this is largely due to the fact we cannot regain lost time no matter how much we try. Procrastination prevents you from doing the right thing at the right time. It fills you with the illusion that you've got more time, causing you to push important things until they no longer matter. If you're a chronic procrastinator, it's only a matter of time before this behavior creeps into your financial life. Number 12, not investing in knowledge. Knowledge is power, and we don't mean it figuratively, okay? Knowledge fills you with the power to control situations, to tilt your life in the direction you want it. Take, for instance, you invest hours each day into honing your financial knowledge. Naturally, this will make you less likely to fall into most of the financial traps we've mentioned earlier, including lifestyle inflation and poor debt habits. Investing in knowledge could also mean a decision to equip yourself with new skills, which in turn could be an opportunity to discuss a higher pay with your employer. Even more interesting is the fact you can use this knowledge to build a passive income. Sounds pretty good, right? Number 13, staying in your comfort zone. As humans, we find peace in familiar surroundings, in familiar situations. And this familiarity produces a sense of certainty, and it creates the illusion that you're in charge. But here's something you already know but aren't willing to admit. You are in your comfort zone, and you need to get out of it to avoid working forever. Staying in your comfort zone prevents you from taking risks, stops you from reaching your full potential, and could make you stay at a poor-paying job for years. And if you realize this too late, you just might have to work a few more years to be finally able to prepare for retirement. Number 14. Negativity. Here's a cool psychological fact to kickstart this. People who have a positive outlook toward everything are usually more self-confident in their skills and abilities, which in turn makes them high performers. Eventually, these individuals will put in more effort and are much more guaranteed to reach their goals. Negativity, on the other hand, does the exact opposite. It fills you with contempt for yourself, causes you to believe less in yourself, and even prevents you from taking the needed steps to improve your life. If your mindset constantly hinges on negative thoughts, then a part of you already believes that your actions won't change anything. So rather than act at all, you decide to sit back and do nothing. And this, dear Aluxer, is nothing but a formula for failure. Number 15. Laziness. Did you think we weren't going to mention this one? Of course not. Whether we like to hear it or not, laziness is a factor that's contributed to millions of individuals missing out on life-changing opportunities. But it isn't just that. Laziness can also lead to financial stagnation, intellectual degradation, lack of motivation, negative mindset, and so on. And there you have it, Aluxer, 15 terrible things to avoid if you don't want to work forever. Did any of these habits reflect your current behavior? Well, this is another chance to break free from those habits. We at Alux don't want to see you working into your old age, so we're here to help you in every way we can. And if you enjoyed watching this video up until this point, here's an extra tip, a bonus for sticking around. Number 16. No emergency fund account. Here's what will happen if you fail to save toward an emergency fund account. You'll have to take out a loan to attend to an emergency, and because of how urgent this loan would be, it's bound to have crazy interest rates. To make things even worse, this loan could have an almost impossible repayment structure, perhaps one that expects you to pay $100,000 in 2 months. And guess what will happen when you fail to meet this impossible time frame? Higher interest rates. Trust us, Aluxer, you don't want to be caught in this sort of situation, so why not start saving toward an emergency fund today? Thanks for spending some time with us. We're so glad you did. If you found value in today's video, please give us a like, hit the bell icon to never miss an upload, and don't forget to subscribe.